Good evening. I was wondering what happened there a few minutes ago. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. Happy New Year's to everyone. I hope everyone had a happy New Year's. Welcome to 2023. This is your host, Lady P, for the Women's Table Talk. Today I have a guest, my sister, and her name is Benny. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself. And like I said, I just want to join. I want everyone that's joining tonight. I want you to I want you to share. Call somebody, share the clip, share the video with them. Tell them to tune in tonight. And also, we are welcoming your comments tonight. We have a very good show tonight. Our show is called Relationships Then and Now. And when I say relationships then and now, I came up with that topic because I wanted to compare relationships from a long time ago, like your moms and grandmothers and great grandmothers, and the relationships that we have today. How are they different? Have they gotten better or worse? And what has happened? I mean, where did we go wrong when it comes to relationships? And I'm talking about relationships and marriages and relationships with someone you're dating at this time. So anyway, I'm gonna let Benny introduce herself and tell a little bit about herself, and then we're gonna go forward with the show.
I'm Benny. I'm Pam's sister.
That's a good thing, honey.
I'm her sister. So that's about it. I've
So
been your
tell us a
sister.
little bit about yourself.
Uh,
Things you have accomplished, or if you would like to share that, or where you at now, right now.
I'm Pam's sister. I have lived and traveled around the world. I have been married and divorced, so I know a little bit about relationships from
Mhm.
that perspective. I have learned and I have grown from those relationships. And so I'm glad to be able to be on the show to talk about how relationships have changed and from then to now.
Right. Okay. Good. So I had went to YouTube and got a clip, and I asked Pastor Lamarck to play it tonight. And once he plays that clip, I want us to look at it, and it's kind of showing like a then and now in relationships. So anyway, I asked him to play it tonight, and I hope he can. I just saw that it came up and he went off. So anyway, Lamarck, if you hear me, you can play it. Let's just watch this clip right quick. I don't hear volume. Okay, if you can hear me, we don't have any volume. Okay, well, he'll come back. Okay. So anyway, I was thinking when I came up with the topic of relationships then and now, I got to think about how when I was growing up, how I saw relationships. And it seems to me that back then, relationships lasted longer. I'm talking about marriages, not just saying dating. You hear people now, you see them, I've been married 45 years, 50 years, 60 years. And when people get married now, if they even last 1 year, that is really actually good because they say once you get over that 1 year, you're doing really good in a marriage. So, anyway, why do you think that marriages are not lasting as long as they used to a long time ago?
I think when you look at our parents' relationship, I think they was willing to endure more. And I think also they didn't have the distractions that we have today. So you got married then, and but when you talk to your parents about their relationship then, they didn't have a perfect relationship, but they
Mhm.
was committed to the relationship. And I think now it's a lack of commitment. I think relationships are easy to get into, and I think they're even easier to get out of. So people are not willing to endure the long haul of a relationship, of a marriage.
Right. And so it's the common cause that they endure. But I mean, why is that? I mean, marriage is work, you know, right?
Marriage is work, but a lot of people are not willing to do the work. A lot of people have an unrealistic idea of what a marriage should be. We have, we have so many social media venues that we compare relationship. We see people on TV, we see people on Facebook, we see people on Instagram, we see people on TikTok, and a lot of times they are portraying a falsehood of what a relationship really is. And a lot of people like the glamour, just like they say everything that bling isn't gold. But a lot of people like the idea of marriage, but they don't think about the long term through sickness and health and those type of things. So again, people are not ready for the long haul of a marriage.
And that is true. And relationships are not one-sided.
No, exactly. I mean, you have to be willing, and it's not even 50-50. A lot of people think relationships are 50-50. Relationship is not 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I say, a lot of times we talk about traditional relationships, and I just don't think we're there. So often you have people that say they want the traditional relationship, just like, for African American women. I give you a perfect example. We have done really well financially in our careers, and we've gotten an education or whatever, we're making more money and that type of thing. So we say that we want a man to be able to come in and pay the bills and do all those things, but then also we say that we want the lifestyle. A lot of times we're not willing to give up something to have that traditional marriage that we say that we want.
Right, because it's all an image.
Yes, it's all an image. That's what I'm saying. So you meet a man, he probably can provide. He may not be able to provide the lifestyle, but he can provide a home. He can provide by, paying the bills and those type of things, but he may not be able to give you that lifestyle. And I think a lot of times nowadays we're chasing a lifestyle versus looking at the traditional marriage long time ago of what they had.
And that is true. I talked to a lady the other day and I was asking her, I said, well, you're married to a guy. He's a provider. He's a protector. He loses his job. What happens to that? Is he still a man? Is he still the head of the household? Do you stop submitting to him? Like the word of God tells us to submit. So I'm saying, a lot of times I heard a lady say the other day, she said, well, honey, if he ain't worth submitting, I'm not submitting to him. So
yeah, and again, people, I think, like I said, we have this idea. We still want part of the old tradition, the man providing and those type of things. But again, we want to add to that burden of him providing by, demanding a certain lifestyle. And like I say, a lot of women, we say that, we pride ourselves on being independent, but the word independent meaning that you don't depend on anyone. So how can you go into a relationship being independent of your spouse? You can't be independent of your spouse if you expect for that relationship to work.
That is true, because you're independent while you're single.
Yes.
But like I said, how they say that you're set in your ways? So many people set in their ways, even when they're independent. That's why they cannot, change that. They cannot stop that. They take it into their marriages and stuff. And like I say, when the man is trying to be the man, he can't be the man because you sitting over there doing the things that you used to do. And he want to take over.
Because we're still independent. So again, if you're in a marriage and you're still claiming your independence, how can you be one? Because independence means that you're not dependent on anyone.
Right.
So if you're independent, you're not dependent on him for those things. You're dependent on yourself.
Right. And depending on where you are, what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It has no place in the marriage.
Exactly.
And like you say, 50-50. I never believe in 50-50 because 50-50 to me is a roommate.
Exactly.
When you go to a marriage, it's 100%. His 100%
is a partnership.
It's a partnership. Yes. So who's that? No understanding. Lola Jones. Okay, Lola, what you mean no understanding? Comment back and tell me what you mean by that. But anyway, or maybe she's saying the guy don't have there's no understanding in the relationships. Maybe that's what she meant.
And you have to have an understanding. You can't go into. I hear a lot of people, and this is. I was guilty of that in my past relationship where I felt like that person should read my mind. And I've learned being married and divorced that you have to communicate. And a lot of people look at communication as confrontation. And communication is exactly what that is. I should be able to go to my spouse and lay out on the table what it is, my expectations, and he should be able to do the same without it ever evolving into a confrontation.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest breakdown in a relationship, is that we don't communicate and we go in with this false idea of what we think a marriage should be. Right. And we need to stop comparing relationships. I tell people the biggest falsehood is social media nowadays. Mm-hmm. Everybody's living their best life on social media, but it's not their real life. That's everything, right. Most of it is a falsehood, and it's just a divider in what people want you to see and not showing you exactly what it is.
Right. Yes. Okay. So, Pastor Lamar, guess we're ready for the video.
Let me get this for you.
Yes.
All right. How was work?
Oh, no, it's just swell. I don't smell dinner being made. So, what's going on? Are you okay?
Don't worry, sweetheart. I was just keeping it covered for you.
Okay, good. Because I want it now. Why is this not open?
Oh. It's quite all right.
I know. Hi, honey. Let me help you.
Oh, thank you.
So how was work?
Oh, work was great. I actually I got promoted.
Oh my God!
Yep, vice president.
Congratulations!
Thanks. President's for me. God, it smells amazing in here.
Mm-hmm. Dinner's ready.
That looks amazing, Greg. But I already ate at work, so just save it for later.
Oh, dang it! One is over.
Oh, thanks.
Right here.
Thanks.
Oh, opener. Got it. Good one, honey.
Anyway. No, it's not a chick flick.
Absolutely. Good one.
Thanks. What's that?
No. God.
All right. When I saw that video, I said, oh my God. I mean, look at what happened then, how she catered to him from the time he walked into the door to the time she brought him his dinner. And then it come to then and how they switch places. Now, I know that's not in a lot of cases because a lot of men do work, but you do have a lot of men that stay at home. And I said, wow, there were no children there. So what are you staying at home for? I mean, that was my question. I didn't see any kids.
Well, they didn't get into that, but roles have reversed.
They have
Again,
reversed.
that goes back to me saying earlier how a lot of women have, they're more educated now. A
Mhm.
lot of women make more money than their spouses. I have worked in corporate America where I knew women and their husband did stay at home
Mhm.
and picked up the kids or whatever because they was making the majority of the income.
Right.
And I don't see anything wrong with it. I think whatever, families are different now. So I believe whatever fits your family, as long as you guys are both in agreement with it, I'm okay with that.
So you're saying that it's okay, well, if it works for them, huh?
I think if it works for them,
Okay.
because I know a lot of professional women, they make way more money than their spouse, and they have agreed to the spouse. He may not stay at home, but he is the primary caregiver of the kids because of their role. So I feel whatever works for the family.
Right. And I was having a discussion with a friend of mine. So I was telling her that back in the day when the women stayed at home, because majority of them stayed at the house. I know my grandmother, she stayed at home. She was a housewife. And the husband brought the paycheck home to her. So, my granddaddy brought the paycheck home to her and she paid all the bills and she gave him what was left, I guess. I don't know how they did it. But I'm saying nowadays, do a man bring his paycheck home to the wife now if she's a housewife? I mean, I don't know. I don't really know a lot of housewives, but I'm saying, like you said, if that works for them, if it fits them, but
well, because I feel like a lot of traditions have gone away,
mm-hmm.
and rightfully so, because things are different now.
Mm-hmm.
We're not that same family that our grandparents were.
Okay.
And you have a lot of single parent home as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got a lot of women that are in roles head of household.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things have changed. So I don't look at moving away from traditions is a bad thing in a relationship. But again, I think that's something that you have to communicate to that person that you are potentially thinking about marriage. And I think that you guys should have to come to an agreement of what that looks like for your family and your marriage.
Right. Well, but I look at too that it's a lot of divorce. The divorce rate is high.
That is true.
Why is the divorce rate high? I mean, is it something that we're not doing, or is it something that we're doing to cause that? That's why I asked, where did we go wrong? I mean, are we focusing on the wrong thing? I mean, that's my question tonight, because the divorce, I mean, like I say, long time ago, 45, 50, 60 years, couples were staying together. Now they want to shack. Nobody wants to live together anymore. I mean, get married. They want to just live together first, see how it's going to work out. And then, 1 year comes into 5 years and 5 years turn into 10 years. Not all cases, but I'm saying just some cases, because you get so content, you contented with where I am right now. So why do we need to get married now? Everything is working, it's going good. So, if it's not fixed, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
But again, when I know you are more traditional.
I am. Yes.
And so, I am to a certain degree, but I think more women are deciding not to get married, just like a lot of men are deciding not to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's up to that individual.
Right.
And it goes back to having an understanding and communicating that with whoever you are involved with.
Right.
I don't see anything wrong with people choices, right, because we all have choices, and everyone wants to do what works best for them. So again, a lot of people have moved away from that traditional marriage, that traditional relationship. But again, I think that's something that has to be communicated on both parts.
Okay. Well, like you say, I'm more the traditional person. When I was married, I was a housewife. I stayed home, and I talking to a friend this morning, and I hope that she gets online tonight, because that's what we was talking about. How she said she would prefer to go to work because working at home was more responsibilities.
and I prefer to go to work. I was that. I'm a career person, a professional person, and I much rather. I had 2 boys, but I much rather work outside the home. I had no desire to be a stay-at-home mom. I didn't have that desire.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So, like I say, we welcome your comments tonight. I don't know who's out here listening, but share your comments, and also you can ask Pastor Lamarck to invite you in tonight if you have something to say, and just let us hear what you have to say tonight about the traditional, which is then, and the new, this which is now. I mean, like I say, I don't know. I guess I'll just look at the divorce rate, and that's why I say it's something that we're doing is not working. For
a lot of it is communication. Most relationship, again, I think most people go into relationship with this idea of what marriage should be versus people really having a discussion on what that looks like for them.
Right.
I was looking at a clip. Oprah had a couple on her show many, many years ago, and this couple was supposed to get married. So she had like 8 different couples on the show, and she took them through this pre-marriage counseling. And this one particular couple, after going through that counseling, decided that they was going to postpone getting married because going through that, based on their communication, they found out things that they both felt like would destroy their marriage. So they decided to not get married. And if so many people could do that prior to getting married and not get caught up in the idea of being married and really think about the responsibility that goes into being married, then a lot of people probably wouldn't get married, and then a lot of people would probably stay married longer. Right. If they did the work up front and not try to get into the marriage and do it then.
That's true, because it's not
people need to be honest with each other too. A lot of times, I know for a lot of women, we sometimes, we have that strong desire to get married that we overlook things, and the signs are there, but we go into it anyway. Right. So a lot of time, I'm not going to say we're oblivious, because a lot of time we do see every woman and every man know who they're getting involved with, but a lot of time we choose to overlook those things.
Well, why do they overlook it though?
Because the desire and the ideal of marriage is greater than the the choice not to get married. A lot of times people just have that desire and they feel like they so far gone that they decide, hey, I'm gonna do it anyway, even though you know that you probably shouldn't marry that person.
Okay, yeah, well, that's true. And it's not just like you say, getting married, is staying married.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people concentrate on that day instead of concentrating on the life term of the marriage. A lot of people, once they say, hey, we're getting married, they put more into the wedding and all the theatrical of the marriage versus thinking about what it's going to take for us to stay together long term. Right. And also, that's the part that most people do not give a lot of thought to. I mean, you feel like, oh, we love each other now, let's get married, but we don't really think about long term.
Right, that is true. And like you say, communication and trust is 2 things that's so important in a marriage. If you don't have communication and you don't have trust, you don't have a relationship.
Yeah. And I mean, and you have to be open and you have to communicate. You have to communicate. Like I say, a lot of people look at communication as confrontation, and it's not. I mean, I should be able to go to that person and lay everything out on the table, and that person should be able to come and lay everything out on the table. And I truly believe in when you come to that fork in the road, and if there is no impasse, then you go your separate ways. But so many people, it's harder for them to choose them. So they go into the marriage choosing that person, and they never choose them. And so when they get into their marriage, they find themselves being neglected because they never chose themselves.
Well, that's good. That is really good, because like you say, you go into it. Well, sometimes we go into it for the wrong reasons too.
Yeah.
You know, I've been married one time, and I know good and well I should have never ever married that guy. But you know, I'm just saying. But and it was a disaster because, like you say, you went in for the wrong reason and the wrong reason. So you go into the wrong reason. I mean, for whatever reason that is, make sure that that's the person you really want to spend the rest of your life with.
Sometimes we think love is enough, and love is not enough.
Not enough.
Sometimes we really think love is enough, and
Right.
love is not enough
Mhm.
until when you start, being faced with all these other obstacles in the relationship,
Right.
then love is not enough. And a lot of times we
Mhm.
don't. Love should be enough, but a lot of time it's not.
It's not, because you know
Yeah.
what, I tell you what, because they're gonna come. Because I heard this guy say this morning. He said, when you're in a relationship, you need to ask, what's your crazy? And I'm gonna tell you my crazy.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, a lot of people don't say that. I say that is something. I've never asked nobody, what's your crazy? Because we got some craziness about us. I don't care what people say. I don't care depending how you responded to certain things, but it's some crazy about us, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. We need to see that. How do you respond when it don't go your way? How do you handle this situation?
And the flags are there. Like I said, we just choose to ignore it. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, the flags are there. I mean, he or she has to be a really good actor or actress to hide everything.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah. So there were some flags there, and you decided to ignore those flags.
Mhm.
You didn't yield. You didn't stop. You just kept going.
Right. I'm gonna
And
read
then you
what,
find yourself in a situation, in an unhappy marriage, and then divorce.
right. I'm gonna read what Daisy Brookshire said. She said back in the day had to have a legal separation for about a year before you could get a divorce, given time to think about or talked about. Okay, I guess you was just saying like back in the day you had to have a year for
And
legal
she's correct.
separation.
Yes.
Oh
And
wow.
back in the day, you even had to go to counseling for a
Mhm.
year before you could get a divorce, especially if you had children,
Right.
to give you an opportunity to think about if there's something that you wanted to do.
And that's really good, because if it took that long for you to get away from somebody, you might think about the next person you want to marry.
Yeah.
But like you say, they make it really easy for marriage and divorce now. They really do. So you have to really make sure that's the person you really want to be with. Because like you say, marriage is work. You can't just go in there, like you say, I love you, you love me. But like you say, are we willing to put up with certain things that, what I'm saying? I might come in and say, I don't like this. But a person might say, well, they might not like because I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Or it might be something he's doing. I have to tell myself, or not just tell myself, but believe that I'm okay with what is going on with him. Just like myself. But like I said, we have to be true to ourselves.
Yeah.
And
And like I said, going back to love, it
yes.
should be enough, but it's not a love. But I think the biggest thing is, I was listening to a pastor one time, and he was saying a lot of time it's about commitment.
Yes.
And that to me go a lot further than love. How
Mhm.
committed you
Oh, yes.
are to this.
That's
Because when you're committed, just like anything that you set in life, if I decided to go to school to be a doctor, I
Mhm.
don't care how hard it got. If that was the desire of my heart and I was truly committed to that, then
Mhm.
I'm going to hang in there. And I
Right.
think a lot of times relationship fail because a lot of times people just aren't that committed.
They're not committed. And that's
Yeah,
true.
because I mean, even if you look at people that's been married 50 years, it
Mhm.
didn't come without obstacles and roadblocks,
That's
but
true.
they was committed to the process, and which is the reason that they hung in there.
Mhm.
They didn't give up when it got hard. They were still committed, and a lot of times we're not committed.
Right. That is so true. You know what? And I hear this guy, well, I don't know if there was a pastor saying something about how, this lady had took her husband to the doctor. And when he came out, the lady was in the waiting room and she said, well, babe, what the doctor say? He said, well, if I don't do certain things, I'm going to die. So she asked the doctor, well, okay, what do he need, so he can live? So the doctor told her he need more loving. She said, well, he about to die. I thought that was so funny. So she just refused to love him. So you're gonna be checking out of here, brother. She said, because I'm not gonna do that. And I thought that was so sad that that's all he needed was loving in order for him to live. And she refused to give him that.
Because she wasn't committed. And she wasn't going to compromise. You know, that's the other thing. People aren't willing to compromise in relationship nowadays. It's about me.
That is right. That is so true. Oh my goodness. But like I say, marriages, again, I stress that marriage is work. You just can't go in there thinking that it's going to be a piece of easy cake. He ain't going to be no shining armor coming in on a white horse to rescue you. It ain't going to be that. It's going to, you're going to have agreements, disagreements. You agree to disagree sometime.
But again, we're all flawed.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, we all come with some type of baggage.
Yes.
And so it behooves all of us to work on ourselves before getting into relationships. So he's not perfect. We're not perfect either.
That's true.
And each person needs to look, within themselves and work on themselves, and do the hard work in order for relationships to work, because we're not perfect either.
That's true. So the marriages then, because that's what we're talking about, then and now, what are some things that you know that happened back then that maybe shouldn't have never changed, like now?
Things that happened back then that probably should have never
changed. Right.
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Things that happened then. Well, I don't know much about then.
Mm-hmm. Well, just looking at people that we knew who had been in marriages for a long time. I mean, family members. We've had family members that have been married a long time.
But most people that I know that had been married a long time, the woman stayed at home.
That's right.
She stayed at home, and maybe that was a good point, because they didn't have all the outside distractions.
Right.
The person that was at home concentrated on the home and didn't have to come to work, go to work, get home, because a lot of time that is a lot of stress on a relationship.
Yeah.
And if you have one partner not working with you, if you both are working outside the home and you have one and the mother is the only one that's coming home doing the cooking, cleaning, busing the kids to and from school, that's a lot of stress, and that's going to put a lot of stress on the relationship, and that's going to cause her to resent her spouse for not sharing in those responsibilities. So most people that I know that was back then, most of the mothers was at home. I mean, the relationship that I know have lasted is because the mother stayed at home.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I was saying earlier about the stay-at-home moms had a major responsibility when it comes to taking care of the home.
They did.
But like you say, it was less distractions, and guess what? They was able to stay focused. They was focused on their family. But when they get outside the home and work, and I'm not knocking anyone that work, anyone who has a career, I'm not knocking any of that. But I'm just saying how there's a lot of things going on now that has caused the now to be like it is because of what's happening, back then. But like I say, everybody's not, I guess, meant to stay at home. Everybody, I'm not saying meant they don't want to stay at home. And like I say, again, I'm that traditional person. Y'all know I've been like that all my life. But the person that do have a career, the person that want to do this and do that, that's them, But, I tell people, if a person wants to, like myself, I was a housewife. I stayed at home, wash, cook, clean up, whatever. That's what I like doing. I didn't really like going hit a job. Okay, when I got a divorce, guess what? I had to go hit a job. And then hitting that job, it came with 5 kids later, So the thing about it, was it hard on me? Well, I guess I just tried to stay focused. So I didn't even focus on the hardness. I really actually didn't. I just did what I had to do.
Well, and that's the other thing that you have to look at. A lot of women don't have the option of staying at home.
Right.
I mean, when you look at families today, with the cost of living and everything that has, that they have to deal with, it's not even an option to stay at home. Even if there is a husband in the house, it's not an option.
Right.
So the fix is that everybody share in the entire family. If both people are working outside the home, then both people need to share in all the responsibility.
That is true.
That way it reduces the stress, and one person is not resenting the other person for being the person that's having to work outside the home and come home and work in the home.
And that is true. And again, if 2 people are working,
Yes.
You're working, you share responsibilities. I don't care if it's washing, cooking, cleaning up.
The responsibility
bed.
has to be shared, especially if I'm the
shared.
person, if we both are having to work.
Yeah.
And in today's household, most people are two income and they're having to work. Then we as a family, everybody needs to be sharing in those responsibilities.
That is
Because
true.
if not, you know, there's a lot of resentment is going to, you know, a lot of stress on that one person or whatever, and then that's the breakdown of the marriage.
Right. And you know, unfortunately, it's sad that some men feel like even though you're working, you need to come home and cook. Even if he got home first, he's still waiting on you to come home and cook. And I just think that's unfair. I really do.
It is unfair, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, if we're both having to work outside the home, then hey, we both need to come in, cooking, cleaning, picking up children, and those type of things.
That is true. That is so true. And you know, and the thing about it, if a woman decides to stay at home, and the cost of living nowadays is just crazy. I mean, even just paying rent now is what, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 a month, and that's not even water and utilities. Don't talk about a car note and insurance. And then nowadays, and I tell any couple, no one needs one car if you're a couple.
No, and now it's a must that two people work. So then it's a must that everybody's sharing the responsibility.
That's true. That is true. But like I say again, it's so much. Everything is so high now. Everybody's struggling. You know, even the people that used to have money is struggling. You know, the people that used to be like rich, they're like in between now. The one in between is poor. And the poor is just still where they are. You know, and it's really sad because a lot of couples are struggling. And one thing I've learned too in a marriage, we talk about communication and trust, finances will mess your marriage up.
That's a huge problem within the marriage.
Yes, finances.
Yeah.
If you spending money that you ain't supposed to be spending, I mean, it's finances, communication, trust. I mean, all of it go together.
Well, you know, I have several friends that are attorneys, and you know, like during the pandemic, most of them saw the divorce rate just go out the roof because people, I mean, just couldn't live with each other. You know, you had to shut down. You having people that have to be at home with each other 24/7. And most of them talk about how so many people filed for divorce during the pandemic.
Right. Well, you know, the pandemic really was a test. It was a test of relationships to me. Because when this man is working from home, his wife is working from home, they have to see each other 24/7. They was ready to get out that house. They was ready to get out that house. And like you say, divorce went up like, oh no. And when to me it was a test, because when you're in a household with me, that really let me know, like you say, love ain't enough. Well, it's gonna let you know if you really do love me. Because I mean, if you want to get away from me and don't want to be around me, something wrong with that picture. Something's wrong with that. But a lot of couples, they got a divorce because the pandemic made them stay indoors, working from home, forced them to work from home. But that was a test of relationships.
Well, yeah, because you realize whether or not you really, or if you and that person is really compatible.
That's right.
It's a big difference when you're married and, you know, you go on your separate ways. Sometimes marriages last long when people are going their separate ways and not spending a whole lot of time with each other, because you don't get to really continue to know the whole person. And then now when we're confined to a house 24/7, then I look over there, I start not to like you.
Right. That's right. Then you start saying stuff you ain't never seen. You know, you think you would know that person. It's like, wait, I didn't know that about him. You know, man, look at her. Really? Or her. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna bring balance to that. Or her. So like I say now, okay, the pandemic is, they say it's still here, but anyway, you know, people, they work. It's like people work from home now by choice. They don't have to. They can go back out.
A lot of people do have the option now.
Yeah, the option now. Yeah. So guess what? And then that option, I just wonder if they had the option to go back to work now. They done got a divorce because they had to stay at home with this spouse. Do they have any regrets? Because, you know, that was a test of your relationship. That was a test. I mean, even the kids, you know, like I say, and then guess what? The parents, they became teachers.
Yeah.
They had to actually teach their kids. So now guess what? They praise the teachers now.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I didn't know y'all go through all this here. I can't stand being in the room with my child. You know, especially trying to do some homework, and half of them couldn't do the homework no way past 6th grade.
Oh yeah.
No
Oh well, it was a test for everyone. I mean,
Everybody,
it
yeah,
was a test for everyone. I'm single, and it was a test.
right, yeah, yeah. I know. So the thing about it, yeah, things has changed so much, and I don't know. I told someone the other day, I liked when we came home and we ate dinner around the table. I don't see that anymore.
Most people eat on the run. Most
They
people
eat on the run. They eat in their room. They eat
they
in
get in their car, they go their separate ways. Yeah, it's the dynamic of the family is definitely not traditional nowadays.
It's not, and it's not a good thing. That's why I was saying some things that back then it should still be now. Like I think a family should eat around the table. That's just me. I remember, like I say, now we have a TV in every room.
That's true.
We used to have one TV, and if you want to watch I Love Lucy, everybody had to come to the living room and watch I Love Lucy. But now
That's true.
we in our own rooms, we in our own cars, we eating where we need to eat at. We eat out of pots or whatever. And like I say, it has changed. And I to me,
And that's the family dynamic period. Whether you got a husband in the house,
yes,
children in the house, everybody's going their separate ways. Everybody is doing their own thing. Like you say, there's no sitting down at the table. People come and scooping out the pot, fix their plate, they go into the room, they eat. People isolate themselves even within their own home.
Yes. But like I said, the pandemic taught them to stay right here, and you're gonna be right here, and you're not going nowhere. And like I said, because we were right here, that brought us to divorce, separation, all of that. And I tell you, it's sad. That's why I say some things then and now. Yeah, I look at it. I think, some things that we need to bring back. Bring back to the now. And like I say, we have changed. People are in their careers. They're doing this and they're doing that. But I'm just saying the bonding in the marriage, the bonding in relationships, I don't see that anymore.
No, I don't. People get married from day one, they go their separate ways. I think marriage is so important, and especially if you have children in the home, for you guys to have a bond, that shows that you guys are committed to the relationship and doing the work. Yeah, that is so important.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, I mean, it's people out there listening. They probably single, and we have more single people than married people nowadays. Let's say it. Even in the church,
I'm single and happy.
Huh?
Single and happy.
Oh, single and happy.
Single and happy.
Oh yeah, single and content. Okay,
single and content.
Even in the church, if you go to any church, I think in America now, the majority of people in the church are single. It's not too many married couples.
No.
I mean, even the pulpit is single.
Yeah.
The tradition back then, the pastor normally is married and have a wife.
But I don't see that. That was the old way of doing things, to get married, have kids, Now, not to say that all those marriages should have happened.
They should,
because a lot of women endured things back then that they shouldn't have endured for the sake of being married.
Right.
And I definitely don't believe that. And I like the idea that we have choices as women. Men can't, minimize us down to we need to be married, because a lot of time women got married back then just to get married and suffered, did long suffering in those marriages. So it's nice that women have a choice and can choose for themselves and say, hey, I don't want to be married. And it's nothing wrong with me because I don't want to be married.
Right.
Those who desire to get married, that's great as well. But those who don't want to be married, that's great as well.
Yeah. And I understand what you're saying, but when a person think like that, though, why do they, what do you think why a person came to that conclusion that I don't want to be married? Did they say that because of a bad experience? Or
it can be many reasons. It can be, it can be you take a successful woman.
Okay.
That, let's say this person has been married before and the marriage didn't work. Okay. years later, you maybe that person had children and divorced and they had children or whatever. And then down the road, their career has taken off and other things or whatever. You can be happy single. And maybe, I don't necessarily have to be a bad experience, but if they haven't had the right person to come along, they tell themselves, I'm not going to settle until that right person come along. And I'm going to be content where I am until that happens. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't feel like marriage is for everyone. I don't feel like you should get married just to get married. I've been married and divorced, so I'm not going to rush out and marry someone just to marry them, because I know what it's like to be in a bad marriage. So I'm willing to take my time, and I'm willing to be content where I am today, being single. My life is still fulfilled. I mean, nothing, I just don't have a mate, but nothing has changed as far as my happiness, the things that I do, the things I get involved in, the things that make me happy. Going back to relationship, I have girlfriends that I have great relationship with. My children, I have great relationship. My grandkids, I have, and I'm fulfilled right now with those relationships.
Right. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with, I don't think if that's what you want to do, because like even a man that don't want to get married, if you know you're not ready, why would you do it?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think it should be forced on anyone. I mean, long time ago, it was a stigma attached to not being married if you was a woman at a certain age. That's no longer. Women are choosing every day to be single.
That's true. Because I talked to a friend that was from Africa, and they were just saying their custom is, if you're 30 years old and not married, there's something wrong with you.
Exactly. Yeah. That's not the case anymore.
Right. Yeah. So the guy, he did run off and get married. He did, because he was, I think, past 30. But anyway, he was saying it's something wrong. And that's just how they was raised up, and that's just their culture. But our cultures are different. I mean, the cultures that we're in America now, so we don't think like that. But some culture you go to.
And Lola, you are right. Some people are single in their marriages. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. And so why not just be single and not be married if you're going to be in a marriage? And just like you have single mothers in a marriage, you got single mothers in a marriage because the man is not doing his part. So that woman is doing everything from the time she gets out of work to the time she gets home. So that person is like a single married woman.
Well, okay, she's doing the single thing because she has no help.
Yeah, so she's single in the marriage.
Okay. Well, yes, no. You're gonna come forward. Pastor Lamarck Thomas wanted to come forward, and he's telling me he's gonna do his best to stay off this here. Warning now. Come on forward. Let us see your face before we get off, because we have it is 8:48. So come on. Share your viewpoints. We'd like to hear that. Also, like I say, if you're here, again, I want you to share and comment. If you have any questions, send your questions, and I'll let my sister answer the questions tonight since I'm the host. Okay, so Pastor Lamarck Thomas, come on. Come forward, because he did talk about he wanted to. 2. No, 3 tonight. I'll see y'all next week for part. Okay. I think he's scared, sister. He want to get on here and get radical and wreck my show. That's what he wanted to. Because he can wreck you.
Come on.
Oh, come on. My sister said,
come on.
Yeah, she's a guest. Don't do that. All right. He's going to come with some good stuff here. Hopefully. Anyway. All right, we can't hear you. All right, there you go.
Y'all start no stuff with me tonight. Don't you start in here. I'll get in the water with this kind of conversation.
Well, get in the water with it. Get in the water.
I'm gonna be nice and back out. But this single thing, God ain't creating no single thing. When he went to Adam, and he said, Adam, listen, what hast thou done? He said, that was that woman you gave me. And God said to him, don't tell me nothing about that woman. I gave you the charge. In other words, he was essentially saying to Adam, listen to me. She is spoken for. You not. you are put in a position to speak for her. I gave you a responsibility and a job to do. So essentially to say that you are single and you're chosen to be single and it's okay to be single, that's not what God said. And you go to the book of Ecclesiasticus and you mess around and go to the book of Hebrew and drop down to the book of Amos and deal with it. It said, remove not the old ancient landmark. And I believe that's what's happening now in relationships and marriages. We done got rid of the old ancient landmark. Nobody want to walk in their true identity when it comes to man and woman. I think we got a Christ identity crisis going on here. Mm-hmm. And I know we all been hurt. I know we've had some strange relationships. I know we have some pain, and some of us have been out with some men that gave us some diseases as women, and some women, the men's been out there with some women that gave diseases that mess you up and have you all upset. But listen, at first you don't succeed. I believe there's one of them R&B songs. You get yourself up and try again. Don't ever let your mess that you was entangled with cause you to walk away or to live in bondage. And I think our women have come to the point where they have found a comfort zone within themselves to say it's okay to be single because I've been hurt, I've been this, and I've been that, and I've been this. But that's not the place for you to be. It is simply meaning what God has for you, you didn't have it in your hand. And when we come to the terms, because most of us got a greedy eyeball, whether it be the left eye or the right eye, we are greedy and we touch things that are not supposed to be. But we go in and make it be what we want it to be and say, I'm happy now. But the day of reckoning comes, we get in trouble. Now we want to hide our face in shame. Now we want to say, it's not meant for me to be with anyone. No, just come to the truth and the terms of it that you have made a mess here. You done made a mess. I done made a mess. And some of us everywhere done made a mess here. We got to come to the tune that we played this music. Now get to dancing to the music you play. Now that it's gone, dry your eyes, wipe your tears, clean yourself up, and get yourself back out there because your king is still waiting for you.
Okay, so let me say something. Let me chime in. First of all, I've been married twice and divorced, and I have not ruled out marriage for the third time. But what I will not do, I won't ever settle. And so I'm not hurt. I am all that. Pam and I had I'm a type person. I let go of things once it's over. Yeah. It's over. But I'm not rushing into anything,
right? Because
I do believe in marriage. I believe in the institution of marriage. But again, I'm not rushing into anything. And it's so many people that play so many games in the world today. Yeah. And so you take your time. Yeah. So you can have some discernment. So I was married to my first husband 18 years. So believe me, and the next husband, I was married to him 8. So I've been married most of my life. Right. But no, I have no desire to be single, but that's where I am today. Right. But I am happy and content being single until that person comes. And I'm not rushing into nothing. But this is not from talking from no hurt, none of that. But we cannot make it seem like something is wrong with a woman because she's single. It's nothing wrong with me because I'm single. I choose to be until I come across that right person.
Well, the book says he that finds it.
Yeah, and he haven't found me. He haven't found me yet. You are so right. You are so right. He haven't found me yet, and I got some saying that he.
You got to be fine.
And I have some saying that he. I have some saying that he. I have a whole lot of saying that he. Believe me, you can't just come and say. I got some saying it too. I got some saying that he.
Okay, come on in. Tell me about this heat. Let's go and get in the water for a few minutes. We're going to go over a little bit since y'all don't mess with me. Y'all never woke me up here.
Well, that's okay. You said earlier you might want to come on in this conversation. So I said, come on.
So
Wait.
you're right. He who finds a good thing, but he can't just come pick me. I have to have some say so in that too.
Well, wait a minute now. If you're gonna go into that traditional,
No,
it says-
no,
wait,
what
wait,
else?
no, wait,
Okay,
wait,
go
wait,
ahead.
wait. Give me a minute, because you look so bright. Let me see. Let me see if I can I come around your bright light right now.
Okay.
All right. When it says he finds a wife, finds a good thing, according to the traditional part, a young lady could not make a decision without the father.
That's true.
Okay, without that man, and so many of our homes have been delinquent of a man.
That's right.
It's like a desolation area now. You find a father in the house with his wife and the kids, you like, oh my God, what planet is this on? You know,
That's
people
right.
looking, you know, because nowadays
It's
men
fun to have a man in the house.
Yeah, it's somewhere raising somebody else's children, and then they the woman have found another man to raise their children. We in trouble here, and when you start messing with this can get kind of wide open. But I'm gonna try to see if I can keep it on the path here, and that is this: a young lady's supposed to always, whether she be a young lady, old lady, middle-aged lady, dead lady, or living lady, she's supposed to be always spoken for, because that's what God said. So if you're getting married to the wrong men once, twice, 2 or 3 times, that's because it's not being presented. So somebody would say tonight, I don't have a father. You got a brother. You got an uncle. There's some men in your family that carry the same blood as your family. You go to them and ask them to meet this man. And as men, we'll tell you straight off, oh, that joker, that's getting ready to take you for a reel in the ride. Or he getting ready to do this. But most of the time, and I'm going to say most of the time before I get ready to get jumped on, most of the time, they ain't going to listen to us. I love him. He's a good man. You just don't like who I've chosen to be with. Y'all ain't never satisfied with who. So I got my own life to live, and I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I'm making my own decision. Then when we get down the road, oh my, you got to wear a cosmetic because he done black your eyeballs in. He ain't taking care of you. You're taking bath with Walmart soap, and you left Neiman's Market for Walmart.
That's true.
I'm just gonna keep it real with you. That's what we're doing. Fifth sack. You're doing soap. Your hair is beautiful. Look how pretty y'all hair is. Look at that. It's just pretty. Look at that. But if you get the wrong man, it's gonna fall out, ain't it? You got to go to Walmart to get you some shampoo.
And that's the reason why you don't rush into anything. You live and you learn. And so I've learned some things. So, and in my learning some things, I understand there is a season. I understand that I can be content where I am.
Right.
I'm not thirsty. You know, a man doesn't, whether I have a man, it doesn't define me. Right. And what I'm saying is, so when you are mature, and when you have gone through some things, your goal is not to keep repeating those same mistakes. Right. And so you take your time. So a Volkswagen cannot come up and pretend he's a Bentley. He can't. Not where I am. He can't. When he come up, it's a Volkswagen. It's a Volkswagen. It ain't no Bentley. It's a Volkswagen.
And accept that it's a Volkswagen, not a Bentley.
And not a Bentley. I understand that now.
That's it.
I understand that now. So you can't even disguise that.
Yeah. Well, that's why you ain't supposed to settle, like you said.
That's right.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna let y'all be, but that single business, I can wait just a moment here.
Well, yeah, but I get that from the biblical standpoint, but I also understand the world we live in.
Well, it don't change because
it don't change, but the people have changed.
It ain't got nothing to do with God.
No, but the people. But again, I understand God wouldn't have me to rush into anything either. I do know that. Of course
He would.
Now, and I know that God wouldn't want me, when he know that he want me to drive a Bentley, he not going to bring that Volkswagen to me and tell me to sell it. I know that. I know that.
Now, what's wrong?
I
with
know.
you?
I know.
Now, you just
with-
tell me what's wrong.
I know that with everything in me, because that is not the desire of my heart.
So you want the Bentley?
That is not. That's right. So
Okay, but what if the Bentley causes you your beauty? What
No,
if the
but
Bentley
here's the
calls
thing.
you?
But here's the thing. The Bentley can't deceive me either, because I can't be deceived by the Bentley either. Because you just because you look good on the inside, that means nothing either.
That's right.
I mean, you still got to show me what's up under the hood.
Now, what you know up under the hood?
You got to show me what. You got to show me what's up under the hood,
What's under the hood?
even if
Okay.
you a Bentley.
All right. So, what do you know about a Bentley to describe what's under the hood?
I know exactly what's on the Bentley to describe. I know exactly what the engine and all that. But what I'm saying is, you still, even if the person is driving the Bentley, everything has to be running. It has to purr up under that hood, and it can't be clickety clackety once you raise the hood up and it still jump. Because even a Bentley can be jumping in the hood, under the hood.
But what if it needs to be serviced?
Well, no, it needs to come already serviced. No, it needs to come already serviced.
I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn this show loose. Please do the part 2. I'm gonna come back because I want to deal with Miss BB. That's what she got up there, right, Miss
Oh,
BB?
BB.
Hey, I'll come back for a part 2.
Oh yeah. Bring this show back.
Okay,
And
we're
get it to water.
gonna bring it back, and BB, we're gonna have a part 2, like I say, because I knew he wanted to get on here and make it juicy, but it's all good. Like I say, I'm hosting, and hey, you got to come back next Tuesday now. Just because he got on the show and y'all done had some conversation. So anyway, I just want to thank everyone tonight for tuning in. Again, like and share. Again, my special guest is my sister BB Benning. What you put BB on there? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I didn't know what she put on there. I didn't see it. But anyway, this is Lady P, the host for the Women's Table Talk. And so I just want to thank everyone. Everyone have a good night.
Thank you.